Alrighty, what is going on, guys? I hope you are enjoying your day. Welcome to the channel. We're looking at a video called What You Didn't Know About South Australia. South Australia, of course, being one of the states in Australia. This is from a channel called Sebastian Own. This will be linked in the description down below, and this comes from Razio Kane on Discord. Thank you for the suggestions, guys. Here we go. Let's get right to it. Let's find out more about SA. That's presumably their state flag. That's kind of cool.
Hi, welcome to 7 Facts. Here you'll find the most awesome collection of facts about every single country on Earth. In this episode, we'll take a look at South Australia. Check out this playlist to see the rest of the series.
It's got a big area. Obviously, Australian states are huge compared to most U.S. states. That's what I have for reference. And look at how that rugged coastline, right? Lots of little islands here. And then look at this, goes way in. That's pretty interesting. Cool looking coastline.
Before we begin, click the subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this one. I upload twice a week, so it'll be worth it. South Australia is, well, in the south.
Yeah.
It is a huge state, about twice the size of Spain.
Wow,
but
that's
by
big.
Australian standards, it's only ranked as the 4th largest state.
That's pretty mind-blowing.
All this territory is inhabited by only 1.7 million people.
1.7 million people in that huge state? That doesn't sound like much.
But South Australia is the most centralized state in the country. Roughly 75% of their entire population lives in and around the capital city.
Wow.
To understand what this means, check out the population density. While in Adelaide there are about 409 people living per square kilometer, in the rest of the state you'll only find a mere 4 people per every 10 square kilometers.
So presumably if you're not by the coast, and especially the big city, Adelaide, and whatever other big cities there are, most of this area, it's pretty barren, it sounds like. Wow.
This state's colonial history is different from the others. South Australia didn't begin as a penal colony, but as a freely settled British province.
Okay.
The guiding principle behind settlement was that of systematic colonization. The goal was to establish the province as a center of civilization for free immigrants, promising civil liberties and religious tolerance right from the get-go. The plan for the province was that it would be an experiment in reform, addressing the problems perceived in British society. How well this experiment turned out to be will let the historians to answer. But I do want to point out that today, while when compared to the other Australian states, South Australia is not the best performing, when compared to the rest of the world, this place is one of the most prosperous and most developed regions out there.
Wow. Not to start any fights or bickering in the comments, hopefully not too bad. But what do you think about SA, South Australia? Do you live there? Have you lived there and moved somewhere else? Do you like it? Do you think it's run well? Do you think it's scenic and fun? Or does it fall a little flat? Is there a lot of problems with it in your eyes? Try and kindly let us know down below.
Adelaide is the capital.
I do like Adelaide, at least from what I've seen. It looks like a cool city. Decent skyline, right? Look at this cool sports stadium down here. And you got the low mountains or the hills over here. Looks pretty cool.
And of course the largest city in South Australia. Right from the start, Adelaide was purpose-built to be the capital of the British province. It was in this area at the site called the Old Gum Tree that the convict-free British colony was proclaimed. Today, Adelaide is a major cultural center and hosts some of the biggest and most important art festivals in the world. In total, there are about 20 major festivals in the city every year, so there's certainly no lack of things to do here.
Now that's what I like. I like when a city has life in it. They have some culture, festivals, lots of things to do. That's a good sign, in my opinion. And I just noticed I need to do a video looking at cities in Australia. After all this time, I haven't done really any videos looking hard at pictures in Google Earth or some sources we got to figure out. But I haven't deep dived into cities it's kind of interesting just looking at this city, looking at the different architecture style. We have the beautiful river running through here, the vegetation, the sports stadium and complex over here. I'm actually kind of fascinated by it, and I just realized I haven't really done that, right? So I would like to do that for a future video. And if you're enjoying this, please throw a thumbs up on there. Help this video out. And if you want me to do a video like this, facts about another state or territory in Australia, you got to let me know, maybe with some links or point me in the right direction to another video. Appreciate you guys. Let's get back to it.
Of course, being a major Australian city, it's also one of the most livable ones in the world in terms of quality of life.
A lot of Aussie cities are, I think.
In 1872, Adelaide was the first Australian capital city to be connected by telegraph with London.
Wow.
Before that time, the Australian colonies had to rely on ships to carry news and mail between Europe and down under, which typically took anywhere from 2 to 5 months to arrive.
Can you imagine that lifestyle back then? That is crazy. If you were trying to communicate with, another land, 2 to 5 months. I mean, is it even news by then, right? Like that is insane. The amount of time and the gaps in info and communication. Wow, we've come a long way. I can't even imagine that. That is, talk about feeling disconnected from the world. That's wild.
After a mammoth operation that took years to complete, the overland telegraph was finally finished on August 22, 1872. Charles Todd, the superintendent of telegraphs, sent the first official message from London to Adelaide that day, and from then, the information travel time between London and Australia was effectively cut down to just under a week. Think about that the next time you complain about your internet speed.
Right, no kidding.
South Australia is the driest state on the world's driest continent, a fact that becomes evident on a visit to Lake Eyre National Park.
So it's the driest state in the driest continent. That's crazy. So the whole continent's already dry compared to most of the world. Then it's the driest state. That's pretty wild. If you didn't know, I am in the U.S. state of New Mexico, not Chicago anymore, for the first part of this year. And I tell you what, it's been different because Chicago, the Midwest, is always humid and rainy and snowy. And even if it's sunny, it's humid out. And here in the Southwest, in New Mexico in particular, this has been the driest state so far out of anywhere. Drier than Arizona, drier than Texas. This is the driest state currently. We've been under a fire watch for like 3 weeks, and it's still winter here. It's so dry, and it actually affects a lot more things than I used to actually think on a day-to-day basis. I don't have allergies anymore. I don't have like runny noses anymore. I used to have that a couple times a year. I've always had it. I don't have those anymore, and I also you have to stay hydrated. I wake up all the time so dried out, and my tongue feels like a lizard. It's like super dry, so it is wild, the differences, and I imagine Adelaide or South Australia rather, would be really, really dry, probably even more dry than our American Southwest, which is hard to believe because the average humidity here is only like 7 to 12% per day, and in Chicago is around 50 to 80%. So it is different. Weather and dryness is really crazy.
This vivid, stark landscape is home to Australia's largest salt lake and the lowest point in the whole country.
Very interesting.
The Lake Eyre Basin covers 1/6 of the continent and stretches 144 kilometers long and 77 kilometers wide.
Wow.
Lying in the outback of South Australia, Lake Eyre is the largest salt lake in the world. But while it does flood periodically, it's normally bone dry. So, of course, the lake bed has been the location for many attempts at breaking the world land speed record.
Whoa, I didn't know that. That's really cool. First of all, I didn't know that was the biggest salt lake in the world. Second of all, when it's dried out, that sounds like it's kind of the same deal as the Bonneville Salt Flats in Utah is a dried out salt flat. And I'm sure you guys have heard, if you're in the car world, you know of the speed runs, top speed runs and record runs.
What if I told you that there's a country out there for cows? Sounds stupid, right? Well, there kinda is. Anna Creek Station in South Australia is the world's absolute largest cattle ranch. It covers an
Wow.
area of over 23,000 square kilometers, which makes
What?
it larger than Israel.
Holy
The number of cattle
smokes.
fluctuates.
A cattle ranch that is larger than the country of Israel. Think about that. Whoa.
Depending on climate conditions, but in the last years, there were about 8 to 10,000 cows raised within the ranch. But
God.
if conditions are good, that number can go as high as 17,000. And yet, less than 20 people actually live and work in this station, which is insane if you think about it.
That is wild.
They use light aircrafts and trail bikes to spot and round up the thousands upon thousands of animals.
My goodness. That is ridiculous.
Even this far in the south, you can still find a small piece of Germany.
No
The
kidding.
small town of Handorf is Australia's oldest surviving German settlement,
That's
having
cool.
been founded in 1839 by villagers from Prussia. Walking around the
I even peek a Chinese restaurant there. So we got Chinese restaurants, we got Little Germany.
streets of Handorf, you'll find the
Interesting, huh?
distinct feeling that you are somewhere in Western Europe.
Wow.
Many buildings are half-timbered German-style stone or brick constructions with steeply pitched roofs.
Wow.
So, then it's no wonder that this small town is one of Australia's prime tourist destinations. Just take a look at some photos on Google and you'll see why.
That's it. Wow, that was pretty interesting, I thought. Hopefully you guys agree. Let me know down below some facts about SA that you would like to share. Did you agree with these? Were these accurate? And tell me what other states you would like me to look into further as well. Like I said, if you can help me out with some links or point me in the right direction to some videos or sources, that would be appreciated. This was interesting, definitely. The Salt Lake thing was really cool. I feel like I have heard it before, but to reiterate that it is the driest state on the driest continent, that is pretty crazy. Also, it's very spread out. Also, to point out, there's not that many people in the state, and the people that are there are basically in kind of one spot. That's the way he made it sound. So, I mean, a lot of open space, a lot of desolate, barren land in SA. And what do you guys think? I know it's the driest. Do you think it's one of the hottest states? Like, no matter what season it is, do you think most of South Australia is warmer than, say, the east coast of Australia? Do you think Western Australia is hotter? Maybe Northern Territory? You got to let me know stuff like that as well. Please throw a thumbs up on there if you learned something and enjoyed this. Help this video out. Subscribe. We're so close to 50K. I always say it. I know we're almost there. And check that description out for this original video. It will be down there, as well as the other links to stuff with my channel. Discord is growing. Check that out. Check me out on Instagram and Facebook at IWrocker. My name is Ian. You're watching IWrocker. Until next time, guys. Catch you later.